Hi, guys, and welcome back to Tuba Talk, not so normal conversations. Today, I am once again joined by TJ
Howdy.
and Landon, and of
I'm
course
visible
myself.
this week.
Hey, he didn't do his
He's not
disappearing
gone.
act.
Yeah.
If you watch our previous episode, Landon appeared into frame. It was a masterwork
Of beauty,
of digital content.
and we came straight from Harry Potter inside of the Death Star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's just how we do it. I don't know
This
where
is how
we'll
we
be
do
this
around
week.
here.
We're doing the green screen in
Yeah.
post because it looks better, but we'll decide that.
Yeah, we'll pick someplace fun, I'm sure.
Place more exciting.
So,
Like where we
Rivendell.
are.
Let
Or
Yeah, like Rivendell.
Rivendell, or maybe
Look, Frodo.
the elves.
Look, Mr.
Let's get
Frodo.
started. How was everyone's week? Landon, how has your week been
how has
thus
my
far?
week been?
Yeah.
My week has been not very memorable because I can't remember most of it.
Okay.
It's shocking to me that today is Thursday.
Right.
Because I look back, and most of this week I've assumed it's either Thursday or Friday every morning I wake up. But today I just can't seem to get the fact that it's Thursday in my head because I can't remember Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, today's
Wait,
Thursday.
what happened on Tuesday, though? Didn't something happen for you on Tuesday?
Did something happen for you?
Oh, do you mean like in regards to school?
Yeah, your wife.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's probably why I don't remember this week. Trauma.
Yeah. For those of you listening at home or
I've
watching,
already shut it out of my head.
trauma is when an institution asks you for upwards of $50,000 and then tells you you have to stay home.
Yes,
So-
yes. Westmont College, where I go, is delayed online until the end of September.
At the minimum.
At the minimum.
We will see come
Yes.
September what that looks like.
That was a solid bit.
Yeah. What worries me about that though, and I was talking with my roommate from last year about this, is September 28th is their new in-person classes start date, but that's Westmont's date. The county hasn't approved that date, and the county obviously didn't approve their August 31st start date.
Yeah.
So
Oh, boy.
we'll see what happens. It's those,
But Santa Barbara County hasn't set any official date, right?
it's those darn. I think I would like to blame it on UCSB.
yeah.
Because those are all the people who are probably getting infected and making Westmont look bad.
Right. Like that's where the concern lies. Jack, how was your week?
It was pretty much the opposite of Landon's. It feels like it has gone on forever. I thought today was at least Friday.
Do you have like
So-
a standard schedule for your work, or do you just
Yeah. I mean, every week I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Sunday.
Oh, okay.
And then I do, this Thursdays. But I don't know. This week, like starting Saturday, like on Saturday, I thought it was Sunday. It just
Got
felt
it.
like it was
Yeah.
Sunday. And
Yeah.
I was like, it's not. And then Sunday felt like Monday. But then Monday felt like Wednesday.
So
Did you come to worship rehearsal last week? Because we
cascading.
did it on Tuesday last week, and
Yeah.
that kind of messed up my whole world.
Yeah,
He
no.
did come to
Yeah, because I do mornings on Tuesday, not evenings.
And
Like
you're-
I do Monday, Wednesday, Sunday.
Yeah, so you showed up for worship
So I
rehearsal, which
was-
is typically
Oh.
on Thursdays, but was on Tuesday, and it probably shifted your whole schedule.
Yeah, that actually might very well be why.
Yeah, I can see that. I moved into my new house
Yes.
since last we talked.
Party at TJ's house
Party
this
at my
Friday,
house.
You guys
8
should come.
p.m.
I don't
Here's
know.
the address.
I don't know if everything's
Down
going to
below.
be
It's gonna be
unpacked by-
a 3-day
by Friday
bender.
at 8.
We'll conclude it by getting baptized on Sunday at the church party.
That's how we do.
There will be grape juice and bread for everyone.
Yeah. So
A Christian's
thankfully,
favorite.
my beautiful wife packed us all up. Like I think I packed a total of like 3 boxes or something.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I did move almost
Weak
every single box though.
link.
There you
so,
go.
There's some exchange
those-
there.
get those
However,
arms-
she did the heavy lifting of like packing everything into boxes and labeling it. So it was really easy to kind of unpack. It's just like, oh, this goes in the upstairs bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, this goes
over
here.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
interested to see because how short of a time span did you pack? Did you pack in like a weekend? Did you pack all your stuff over like 4 weeks?
I mean, it took us probably 2.5 weeks to fully
Okay.
get packed.
Okay.
Just working a little bit at a time each day.
And
My
do you
wife
say
was
that
pretty
your
diligent.
your box labeling system evolved over that 2 weeks?
Kind of. So the thing is that we actually got secondhand boxes from a good buddy of mine, Tanner Moss. Shout out.
Did any of them tear out the bottom?
No, actually. However, like they were pre-labeled with all of their stuff, and so they have 2 little girls, and so they had like probably 40 boxes that just said toys on it and stuff like that that we had to like cross out and then like add our new label.
Label.
Yeah.
But because we packed during the time that we were buying our house, we knew kind of what the floor plan and everything was.
Well, that's cool.
So.
Rapper.
Yeah, it was cool. I am exhausted though. I'm not gonna lie. I've been up late and up early almost every day this week
Well, you've been up late and up early since I don't know, like
since March.
Easter
March.
time.
Yeah,
Since
probably.
a certain child came into your life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. About a week after Easter, little Larson was born. But you know, she's actually a really good sleeper. She's not the reason I'm up at night.
Oh, wow.
Webflow is
That
the
must be
reason I'm
nice.
up at night.
Webflow?
No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
we could talk about Webflow.
I mean,
Webflow is an online website creation tool. It's like Wix, but better. And like, so Adobe had a website creation product. I don't remember what the name is. Do you?
Dreamweaver.
Yes, Dreamweaver. No,
What?
Dreamweaver still exists. It was something different.
Well, they're discontinuing
Yes.
Dreamweaver in like the next year.
Yeah, so they're currently discontinuing Dreamweaver, and they have discontinued their other creation tool, which integrated with WordPress really well. So a lot of businesses are switching now to Webflow, which is sort of like, it's basically an interface for CSS.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a CSS styler toolkit.
It's
Everything's-
Webflow is to CSS as Grammarly is to Google Docs.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
It basically
Good way
makes
to
your
put
web. It's a bunch of sliders that build your website while code does magic behind the screen.
yeah, you
It's
don't
like-
write any code. It writes the code based
like
on where you
honey.
tell it to
Yeah.
put things.
It's like honey on any shopping website.
yeah. You like click the button.
We're
and
like
it searches
we're
it.
like using all of the like most
It's
basic.
like
Yeah.
it's
the
like
ba-
a metaphor.
It's like Raid Shadow Legends.
It's like, guys, it's Raid.
It's like a metaphor of metaphors.
It's like Stitch Fix.
But yeah, I
Rage.
am
Sponsor us, please.
a graphic designer by trade and also a coder by trade. And so the idea that you would have to do everything visually on a website, I am diabolically opposed to.
I know. I walk into his office and he's
hurts my
always in
heart.
like the custom HTML text box in Webflow, just like typing in HTML.
I can't.
Hacking the mainframe.
I can't do it. I want it to work certain ways, and I have to end up spending a lot of time.
I
writing things.
am a slider and menus boy by trade.
Yeah.
And a coder by second.
The
Second
thing,
learning.
The thing about sliders and menus is that you get a very specific style when you do that, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't. It's like it's stylized for you, which is great, but it's kind of like Stitch Fix, right? Where it's just like you get a preset. This is what you're wearing this
Yeah,
week.
I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen some really cool Webflow sites that haven't used any custom code though.
That's
But
true.
Then
Yeah.
again, they have like 50 million interaction tabs set
Yeah,
up.
so like every 10 pixels, it opens a new interaction and changes the layout of everything on the page,
Wow.
which is
Oof.
more time than I am willing. I would rather write the
I'm
code.
surprised anyone was willing to do that.
And I guess like if you don't know code and you're unwilling to learn,
Yeah.
that's
I
cool.
mean,
but
I only ever learned pre-coded Java. So in other words, I've never learned
Pre-coded Java? What is
as
that?
it, like it's like when the background code for Java is already done. So it's got already the fake made up commands that you put in like on Khan Academy.
Got it. Yeah.
Like when you're
Like,
learning.
you're just gonna like declare a variable.
They've already made.
Like,
Oh, so they've
Java.
They've written the functions.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
already written all the functions. You're just learning the functions, but you're never going to use them again unless you make.
Are they like the base Java framework functions, or are they like Khan Academy? Like, here, this is a function that you can make to add two numbers together, even though you could just write the plus sign.
yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea if it is.
We'll
or isn't.
we'll teach you some JavaScripting here before long, Jack.
It
like-
was.
I haven't done any JavaScript. I've done Java.
Yeah, just like straight Java.
I think I want to learn JavaScript and HTML,
Yes.
right, for website
Yes.
stuff.
See, you guys, because you're younger, don't have the added benefit of we had this thing called MySpace.
Well, because that was all
what's
HTML,
that?
right? Or
MySpace
was that CSS?
mistakenly decided to just hand over all their HTML to users. So you would create your MySpace page, and then you could open up the back end and change whatever you would like.
That's a really
Wow.
good thing.
Yeah. So
But
like
it was a mistake.
my whole generation basically like learned HTML overnight because we saw someone had like a cool MP3 player on their page, and we're just like, wait, how
Oh,
do you add an
definitely.
MP3 player to HTML?
Yeah.
And then you like just learn all these different like arguments and stuff for HTML. It was pretty nice how to reference things. HTML is basically just a long list of references.
Yeah, because whenever I see it, it scares me because it's all references and it's all indent based.
Yeah.
Like it's not line based and it's not like it's kind of statement based, but like it's all you got all the diamond brackets and
Carrots,
the carrots. No, carrots are these.
Oh, the top ones,
chevrons.
yeah.
The chevrons.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. Angle brackets is what my textbook called them.
I don't know. All those things have like such like
Yeah.
like there's no hard
Oh my
language for coding. Is part of the reason why we don't have like a unified coding language is
Yeah.
because it's like, is it a curly bracket? Is it a mustache bracket? Is it
a mustache?
No,
I like
some people
mustache
literally call
bracket.
them
Bracket.
I think
mustache
I'll
bracket.
call it that, and I'll see
I always
what
heard-
my CS
so-
professor, how many times he slaps me.
Yeah. There's always brackets and curvy brackets.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, like it is doable. And even, like I said, I started at a young age. I think I was like 14 or something like that.
And
I was
like,
born
And
at a
luckily,
young age.
Webflow, yeah, that's a good one. Luckily, Webflow gives you access to their APIs.
Yes. So
So
there is API integration, which is
that's
nice.
pretty good.
Which is what I've been teaching myself over the last couple days, is figuring out how to finagle that.
How to
but
be cool.
how to be cool with Webflow.
Cool kid.
How to be cool. Don't talk about coding.
Last week
Cool
I
kid
asked
101.
you guys a question.
Yes.
Did either of you actually take a chance to
I
think
did
about
think
it?
about, I think. Please restate the question to make sure I thought about the right question.
Yeah, I definitely know the question. I want to know if you know the question.
So I asked, what do you think your thoughts, how do you think your thoughts differ generationally about America?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Do you
Okay.
think you
I
think
thought
of
about
America
it.
differently than people of different generations?
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially between the Zoomers and the Boomers.
The Zoomers and
But
the
we don't even
Boomers,
have to talk about the Boomers. We can talk about the Zoomers and
the Millennials.
X,
Yeah, Gen Xers,
Yeah.
Gen X.
yeah.
Well,
And-
even like baby boomers.
young Boomers.
Yeah.
Because those
boomers
are
went all the way to the 60s.
the people who were basically late high school, early college in the late 60s, right? I feel like they are kind of similar to how we are today.
Yeah.
In sense, all the Vietnam protesters.
Yeah.
I can
Right?
see that. Although,
But then
I don't
there's like
know.
the Korean War boomers
Yeah.
and the people. Is the silent generation still around? They're really old. That's like
Yeah,
That's
no.
like slightly older than my grandparents, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's silent, greatest,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boomers,
boomer,
Pretty sure my
Gen X,
great grandpa was part of the
Gen X,
Millennials,
greatest
millennials,
Zoomers.
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 At least we're not iGen. We beat that out.
Gen Z.
Thank goodness.
They've like combined Gen Z with the iGen.
Well,
No, we
'cause
are iGen.
The cusp
iGen was
is
post millennials. There was a
strange.
dude who wrote a book who was trying to. It was right when the iPhone or the iPod and stuff was really popular, and he's like,
It's
"These kids
semantics.
aren't going to be hooked on technology. Let's call them iGen."
Yeah.
And thankfully, that never caught on.
Yeah, I know. I could not imagine my grandparents being like, "You iGen kids."
Yeah, I would be like, are you assuming that I'm a part of Apple?
Apple.
Like, yeah,
I
exactly.
Am I
prefer
owned by
Windows
Apple now?
98 Gen,
Windows 98.
Unix Gen.
I prefer Windows XP.
See, this
Gen.
is where we differ because I am not what is commonly referred to as a digital native. So you guys were
Yeah.
born with things like iPads and the internet.
Nope.
I no. Or well, the
I mean,
internet. Yes.
Yeah, it was around.
Well, yeah, the
whether you
internet.
had
Yes.
it, but like it was.
It was there.
It was
I
there.
mean, the only thing I knew about the internet was that I could play games on Disney.com with my parents' permission.
The Club Penguin.
When I was born, AOL wasn't even a thing yet. So
The
it's
thing-
like we didn't have internet in our home.
What was my first exposure to the internet? Man, I have no idea what that would be.
Probably games,
I think it was
PBS.
probably no, maybe. I think it was when we were homeschooling,
Yeah.
maybe. Because I wasn't, or maybe. No, it was it Webkins?
Might have been Webkins.
There's a
Nah,
classic.
I think it was pre-Webkins, slightly before Webkins.
there was a time
you know,
before Webkins.
just like internet safety with my parents and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Probably,
Google
yeah.
Image, typing documents and stuff.
Yeah. Google was not my search browser of choice.
I mean,
Firefox.
We
Pre-
used
2002.
We used Yahoo for a while.
Yeah, we used Yahoo. And
We used a thing
Firefox.
called Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. He
I've
was like,
heard of that.
He's like a little butler character, and basically he did the same thing Google did. He found web pages because
That's cool. I like that.
prior to Ask Jeeves or other search engines, like you just literally had to know a URL and like type it in and go there. Yeah.
Thank goodness. And were URLs easy or complicated back then?
I mean, they were really easy. Like the .com bubble made it super easy because
Yeah.
like nobody had websites registered. There was like
But now
only
there's
a
so
few
many
places.
websites.
No, it's
Yeah.
just like abc.com and like pbs.org and like things like that. Like
Yeah.
they procured that because they were like the first people to like receive their own domain.
Yeah, abc.com is
Yeah.
like, you think that would be like the first thing snatched up.
Right.
You know, and it's good that ABC got it. Or maybe
Well,
they had to
and-
pay somebody like $1
and
million.
maybe they did,
Yeah.
but like at the same time, nobody charged like that kind of money because nobody knew.
Oh,
right?
'cause it
Like we
wasn't
didn't know the
popular.
future, so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know if ABC knocks on your door and it's just like, hey, we noticed you have a domain registered to your name that we would like to purchase from you. How's $500 sound? And it's like, shoot, I only paid 10 for it. Heck yeah.
He
Like,
should have asked
God.
for he should have asked for percentage of ad revenue from that site.
Yeah, but no, see, no.
There's-
They didn't have ads back then.
There's this
online advertising was
awesome
in
site.
infancy. I'm sure it existed, but
There's this
not as
awesome
prevalent.
site that's ASDF JKL semicolon. So, you know,
Yes.
just home row. And it's this thing where you can type in anything you want anonymously. And it's just in the website. And anyone
Is it
can
a
read
giant chat room basically? Is
Kind
it like
of.
is it like r/place?
I have no idea. But if you do it, then after it does it, it links you
TJ's
to
doing
another
it.
website that the guy made. And it's
doing
called
it.
Two Cans and a String.
He's doing it.
It's not the Urban Dictionary.
He's doing it.
wait, what is it? It's just home row.
can't see it,
ASDFGHJKL
Semicolon.
semicolon.
Can you put a semicolon in a URL?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you guys are digital natives. I am not. So
True.
there is like, but like the kind of the cool thing is I am like right on the cusp in terms of millennials. Like some millennials, like, they had overhead projectors, meaning like
Yeah.
a
I had
box with a
over-
light in it that
Yeah,
like
no,
shoots
I had-
up.
We had
and
overhead
we had those for a
projectors.
very
How
long
young
time.
do you
Yeah.
think we are, TJ?
But I'm saying some millennials, that's all they ever had. Like they never had
Oh,
a classroom with like a projector.
I didn't
in
have a
it that wasn't
projector
A
in-
film reel.
I didn't have a projector until 6th grade.
Did you guys have film reels? We had. It was
like
my
the circle things?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I had one of those little
One of our
glasses that was a
substitutes-
fake film reel.
one of our substitutes used those. It was
yeah.
Mr. Smith.
Oh, yeah.
We did not go to the same school.
No,
Mr. Smith.
you know
Mr. Smith, though.
Yeah, the guide, the tour guide for Jacksonville, Mr. Smith. He goes to our church.
Nope.
Nope.
Smith is the most common last name.
Yeah, but he's like Mr. Smith.
Yeah, but I'm.
Regardless, it was always my job in class to load the film reel for my teacher, and I was
Yep.
just like, yes, it's so cool.
Yeah, you're the
I have
kid.
all the
You're the
tech
kid
skills.
who nowadays they fix the projector.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
They get up on the desk and press a couple of buttons, and it's like,
Change
Website
the-
takes longer than 3 seconds to load. They instantly like snap their eyes to the computer tower.
yeah.
Yeah, but you guys, you know, you had a much different experience growing up and in school because
Yeah.
of the digital influence, and I think that that's where a lot of this generational separation comes from. too.
Technology, definitely.
Well, I mean, I didn't have my first smartphone until freshman or sophomore year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Me
my
too.
first smart device was probably in 7th grade with an iPod.
I had an unsimmed iPhone 3 from like 6th to 8th grade, and then I got
I had an iPod Shuffle
iPhone
for a very
4.
long time. I loved my iPod Shuffle. I had that for so long.
iPod Shuffle. The fact that those sold as well as they did,
I still have an
surprised
iPod
me.
Shuffle.
It
because
doesn't
those are
surprise
the
me.
you can't choose music, can you?
No, you just put it on shuffle
It
or
shuffles-
repeat.
Shuffles through.
And it's no screen, just
Just a button.
skip, volume up, volume down, go back,
Yeah.
and on and off
That's it.
switch.
I'm a
And
very
it's just
music
that big.
chooser kind of person.
Yeah, you
Really?
like to create your playlist.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a playlist person.
Oh, you're not?
I'm
You're
an
just
album person.
Oh, okay.
So I'll
you
listen
want
through
this
an album.
and then
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
you let the musicians do your choosing for you in a way.
Yes, sir.
It's like hope that they
Yeah.
created an
I
awesome.
make a playlist
list.
and just hit shuffle and then just skip to the songs I don't want to listen to.
Because I'll make a playlist. I've tried. I have many playlists. I'll make a playlist and then I'll start the playlist and it'll be like, oh, I should listen to this album. And then I leave the playlist and listen to that album.
You like remember? Oh yeah, this is the next song on this.
Yeah.
on
That's
this album.
There's
I
like
should go listen
one
to
or
that.
two albums that I'm kind of like that with, where I'm like, this is such a good album, and that's the mood I'm in right now. So
And-
let's just listen to it.
Or it's like an album where the songs like link together.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like there's a really smooth transition. If you're in shuffle, you lose that.
I
like
do that a
Sgt.
lot of
Pepper's.
time with
Any Beatles album.
Yeah.
Daft Punk. This is typically
Okay.
an artist that I listen through the whole album because they attempt to do that, at least to have like a through line
Yeah.
yeah,
through all their songs. Back to the question at hand, though.
yes.
Do you think of America differently than other generations?
I think-
How and why?
Well, I mean, I think a big part of it is the difference in what we feel like America should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a kind of almost a fact. People my age and your age, a lot of them have horrible work ethics, and they just don't want to have to
Really?
do anything.
Really?
And so that's why you're getting so much like increase in like socialist stuff happening, is because
Share the load.
a lot of people
To
just
quote
want
Sam Gamgee.
they just want to
Work-
kind of sit back.
Work less, earn more.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
There's
just
a-
want to sit back, and that's like completely against the America that the older generations have built.
Yeah.
It's
And
like-
I see
You work
I
hard,
see
you
a
get
lot
rewarded.
of like a lot of that sort of like young people socialist mindset. A lot are just flat out saying they're Marxists now, which is
Serious?
hilarious.
Yeah.
But a lot of that has shifted. So back in like 10 or so years ago, like the socialist vision was like, oh, they're lazy, right? But
Yeah.
now a lot of it, they've gotten smarter and either they're not lazy anymore or they've masked their laziness behind
Yeah.
the perception of an unjust economic system in order to enforce
yeah.
socialist
Exactly.
change.
Fairness. Is
Yes,
a big
fairness is
thing.
the big
It's
big new hot word.
Everything should be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I think is fair is different than what other older generations.
Yeah,
might
and it's
think.
because
Yeah.
so much of what we're taught is that our ability to get farther in life is how good we are at just picking something up right away. Like as a kid, it's like the kid who can just be like, oh, I know all
Yeah.
this stuff after 10 minutes of learning it. Like, they're the smartest kid. They're the one who's going to go places.
Not much room
It's just
for
because
error.
their learning style aligns with how the school teaches.
Yeah, and it's everyone feels like it's now like, okay, well, I wasn't born fortunate enough to be that smart. Or
Right.
or like, yeah, some people are born in like less good situations at home
Yeah.
and stuff.
That is true, and I think that plays into the fairness, right? Like the people, the would-be people that would call themselves socialist or Marxist, you know, their justification for that is they're saying, well, the system is unfair. Like it advantages certain people and it disadvantages others, and therefore we need to make it equal for everyone.
I mean, like the man with the second highest net worth, his dad, back in the 1800s, was a mill worker in Ireland.
Yeah. So
And you know what he does? He goes on to make American steel. And he's one of the biggest philanthropists ever to live in America. Like, he's a huge deal.
who is this?
You know, I can never remember his name, but it kind of looked like him.
Kind of look like him.
Yeah. It's
Billionaire who looks like, hey Siri.
It's not John D. Rockefeller, it's the other
No,
guy.
because he's dead.
No, I know. He's dead too.
Oh, he's dead too.
But he made so much money that he still has the second high, and he invested so much of it back
Is
into.
it okay? Because based on inflation and
Yeah,
investment.
it's back like there's a quote of him on our library. I think he built our
Oh,
library.
cool. Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Don't know
Yeah.
his name.
I can never remember his
So,
name.
That's a little bit of cliffhanger for y'all.
Or just look up American Steel. Who made American Steel?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Well,
it's,
right now it's Bill Gates.
Oh, okay.
What I feel like a
Mark is
difference
coming
in generations is what they tend to focus on in terms of timelines. So the younger generation right now is tending to focus on the future in
Yeah.
the sense like what can we do to make the future better, and the older generations are seeming to be focusing more on the past and our heritage and like the foundations of America, because that's what the question is, right? How do we view America?
Yeah.
So they're like, America is America. America was started like this. America is going to stay the same forever, and America is good.
Yeah.
And the young people are like, America needs to change because the America right now isn't what I think America should be like, and America
Yeah,
needs to
and-
be like this in the future.
That's what I was thinking about when we talked about this, or when I was thinking about the question, is that a lot of it has to do with leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
Like older people at this point, you know, they've built the America that they want, and now they just want to live in it.
Yeah.
Whereas all the young people now are trying to make their America and change it so that it's like they want it to be. And it's always just changes. Like no one looks back and goes, "Man, you know those Americans who did all those stupid things? What an awesome legacy." Like, dude, that one group that disappeared with nothing but a stinking sign on a tree.
Is it Roanoke?
Coolest, like, actually that is a kind of cool legacy, but still that's not the point.
It's a cool legacy in the sense that it's like,
It's like,
they disappeared.
What? Yeah, like no sign of them.
Carnegie.
Yeah, Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Gosh,
He has the
Carnegie.
music place in New York
Yeah, Andrew Carnegie.
where the bird lady
Yeah,
lives.
Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, because he donated that whole building.
The
to
bird lady.
arts.
He spent his entire last third of his life donating and building different educational institutes and stuff
It'd be cool if
to help
like
people like him.
rich people
get to
were
where
like
he
that
is.
nowadays.
Well, I think the thing is that
I
mean we're kind of. I mean,
Aren't they though?
They
They
kind of
do.
are, but
They
it's
do.
more mandatory for them at this point because of
It's like a
you know,
cultural
tax
mandate.
write-offs and
Yeah.
stuff.
I thought it was
Also-
funny where it was like Bill Gates. I think it was a statistic where it's like a huge breaking news thing where it's like Bill Gates gives $5 million towards coronavirus research in like March.
Yeah.
And people were like, $5 million? Isn't he worth like 100 billion? Right.
Yeah,
So
for
those
him, it's a
numbers may
chump
seem
change.
off, but like,
It's like 230, I think.
yeah.
But I mean,
$130 billion.
think about you
Yeah.
donating that much.
Yeah, but it's
Like-
also like It's
That's an
like
amazing amount of money.
people say these, Elon Musk is worth $72 billion and Jeff Bezos is worth, $300 billion. But you think about it, it's like, how much of that money do you think is sitting in their like checking
that they
account?
It's not
still
liquid,
have,
right?
and
Yeah, how
isn't-
much of it is liquid and how much of it is in mutual funds
Yeah.
and investments and crypto and, CDs
exactly
and Roth IRAs and,
just
401ks
things that they have bought
and I'm
their
trying
real
to think
estate.
of,
But
I'm
we
trying to
did-
think of any other type of bank account that I know of to seem smart.
Yeah.
we did set up a system here in the United States that benefits the rich, but with the intention, I believe, that the
Anybody
people
can
who would
get
become
rich.
rich are the people who work the hardest, and so that would be like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the trade-off.
Yeah,
Where
that's-
that slips is when you have people like he who will not be named who inherited,
Yeah.
billions of dollars, and then all of a sudden is a billionaire and like didn't have to do any work.
Except for
it.
the thing is that he hasn't just sat on that; he's built on that too.
Yeah.
And like, if he had just sat on it and been like, "Yeah, I'm great," I would have been like,
I really
okay.
honestly don't know who we're talking about.
The president, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah,
I
at
had
a young age.
the small loan of $1 million.
Yeah,
The,
small loan
the
of $1 million.
reality of the situation is, even with his bloated estimate of his wealth, because we don't actually know how much he has,
Yeah,
because he won't turn over his tax documentation. But
Still?
still,
That's funny.
like even if we take that number that he gives us, he would have made more money had he just stuck it in the bank and sat on it and
Yeah.
and got the interest.
but
out
the
of it.
thing is like he's tried and he's failed at businesses. It's not
Yeah.
like he just
The,
did something. He tried different things.
he
and
did. He did.
what
He did try to
wanted.
think out of the box.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
he,
just
and he's. I mean, sure, he's. I mean, it's not a great thing that he's just declared bankruptcy so many times when something looks like it's going wrong. But I mean, he has given, like, even in his own businesses, tons of people jobs.
yeah. But you compare that to like the dropout billionaires, right? So
Yeah.
Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they all were college dropouts, and
Yeah.
now they're like the
Yeah.
3 richest people in the United States.
Yeah,
And
I
they
mean,
were rewarded for their hard work and their,
But they're also.
their innovations.
I mean, they are also kind of like. They're genius. Like
Yeah,
Musk,
exactly.
holy cow, that guy is smart. But it's
Oh, yeah.
like. It just because they were born that way, doesn't mean you can't achieve the same thing if you work for it. There's 2 different kinds of work ethics. There's the person who either they get it right away, and if they don't, they just give up on it. They don't try and get any better at it.
Right.
And then there's the people who aren't naturally good at it, but they keep working at it, and then they become the best at it. And those are the people that get to those kinds of places.
Right. It's a resiliency like test, right? It's how resilient are you in the face of adversity? But the system that we put in place doesn't just affect
Yeah.
those top 1% richest
Yeah.
people. It literally, the way wealth is transferred in the United States for the most part is generationally.
Yeah.
And like, I think that that's kind of part of the injustice that younger generations are trying to point out. But it's harder, I think, as an older person to hear that.
It's
Yeah.
funny because The Great Gatsby is a book. And there's
love-
the huge, like, sort of diaspora of, like, old money and new money people.
Yeah.
Like, Gatsby is, like, a little bit like
He's a mix.
old money is good, new money is bad.
Yeah.
Like, in very simple terms.
Yeah.
And now it seems like today, old money bad, new money good.
Right, because
Yeah.
people are looking at it in the scope of what has this money in its entire lifetime been used for,
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
is it implemented into our society. And I think that that's wrong. Personally, I think that that's like the wrong way to look at, anyone's wealth. But I think beyond wealth, there is like this ideal America that's different generationally.
Well, I mean, an ideal America is completely different than what we're at. Like, if you go back to its ideals, like way back when, like, we wouldn't even have a government, really.
Yeah, we would have pushed out our government as soon
I
as
mean-
they started imposing things that
Yeah,
are
I mean,
unconstitutional.
yeah, I mean, technically speaking, the second that the Civil War broke out, I mean, the Civil War wouldn't have broken out because at the time, I do not support slavery at all.
Preface.
Yeah, this disclaimer, I do not at all. But I mean, at the time, they were property. And our
Yeah.
Constitution
time.
gives at the time, no longer, and for good reason, because they are people.
They.
Ooh.
Yes,
Oh.
all slaves are people.
All slaves are people.
Come on.
What about the robot slaves?
Go
to any-
They are people.
They're not
Go to any
slaves.
car
Those are
factory.
machines.
Do we pay them? Wait.
When the car door mover arm becomes sentient, you'll be the one who pays.
Yep.
All right, it
For
doesn't
this
have a
statement
soul.
right here.
It doesn't have a soul. But I mean, for the time, they were property, and our Constitution says that everyone has a right to their own property.
Yeah.
And, like, again, still wrong.
I'm glad they fought it. I'm glad.
Yes.
Yes,
that
I'm glad.
change was made.
I'm not against the fact that we fought it, but if we,
But you can see how they could.
yeah, but like what you're saying, what
Somebody
you guys
in
are
that
saying,
mindset was like,
I know what you guys are saying is like the ideal America is like, you know, we all kind of prosper type stuff, right?
Right.
Like
Where
that
everyone has
the wealthy
opportunity.
help. Everyone
to,
has
to
opportunity,
prosper.
but I mean, the ideal America that we were built on also supported that.
Yeah.
it's very
exactly.
individualistic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like based on this like almost hive morality in the sense that like if in this like the perfect America, yeah, the perfect America is where everybody can build themselves up, can advance themselves.
Yeah.
But they also, contribute to the country.
Yeah.
And then that can also contributes to other people.
Exactly. And I mean, like,
So it's like it's kind of like almost a kind of twisted view of like socialism
it's a
and
hybrid.
communism.
It's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
yeah, no, we've always had a
It's-
hybridized economy.
It's super far away from like
Communist Russia. You can say.
communism. It's like a middle ground between communism and mercantilism,
Yeah.
right? Where it's completely goods based.
Goods rule.
And then
the
completely
day.
state based.
Yeah.
It's almost like a
Yeah, and like we kind of balance it out with like write-offs and stuff and tax returns and stuff,
Right.
especially if you
But those
like
are things,
donate to charity.
Those are things put into
Like-
place to incentivize you to donate to charity.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think that is brilliant.
or have kids.
Because it's no longer increased taxes on the rich people. It's just if they
it's lowering taxes.
Yeah, either-
everybody.
exactly. It's like you lower the taxes if you just give back to your community.
Yeah. But you look at places like China, right? And they donate outside of China less than 1% of their GDP annually, which is like kind of bonkers to think about considering that here in the United States, we donate about 30% of our GDP to
Jeez.
outside the United States. That's just giving people food and weapons and labor and
Yeah.
Weapons.
everything. It was just
Nude-
give it all away.
And new leaders and new
Yeah.
democracies and banana
I mean,
republics.
like,
And
that money is
democracy.
spent elsewhere,
Oil.
essentially, versus
Yeah.
a hyper nationalist
or-
country like China that
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
almost as much wealth as we do, but the way they distribute
yeah,
that wealth
it's
is so different.
Well, I mean, they can't distribute it any differently because if they gave 30%, I mean, people would just have nothing.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it doesn't function how it.
Do they
was
have a
set up
universal
to
basic
either.
income? Does
In-
China have
in
that?
China, no.
Okay.
That's part of it. It's like it's a labor.
Is there any
party.
country that does?
I'm not sure actually. I would have to look that up.
Because I remember
look-
that was like a hot, like new thing
Yeah.
in the Democratic primary.
That would be so stupid. Oh, my
Speaking
gosh.
of rich people,
Talk about inflation, right?
Oh man.
People-
over in the gaming world,
What?
over in the gaming world, EA,
Oh.
EA Sports,
EA
they
Sports.
make the overpriced football game.
Get in the game.
Their shareholders just denied their CEO a $6 million raise.
during this time.
during this time.
I mean,
The CEO wanted to give himself a $6 million raise because, EA makes a lot of money. And they're like, no, you can't give yourself a $6 million raise. Well, A, you're not making a lot of money because nobody's
one's-
selling, the economy is garbo.
Yeah.
And also, you don't pay your developers enough.
yeah, like that's a huge thing right now. Game developers are
Yeah, and that's
in
Crunch
panic.
and everything.
That's a good point, is that stinking shareholders are a huge part of what the American economy is built off of.
Right.
Because it's the public keeping, it's just like we were made to keep our government honest, like the people keep the government. It's a government for the people, of the people.
Right.
By the
As-
people, for
yeah.
the people,
And
of the
it's-
people.
But the issue
In the
then
people.
becomes what happens when you have
Why the people?
what happens when your board is mostly corrupt, right?
Yeah.
And self-serving. And so rather than keeping them accountable,
Exactly. And the whole point
Profit.
of shareholders is that they are a part of the community.
yeah.
Because no one on there, I'm sorry, but people are not as moral as you would like to think.
Wait, people aren't born good?
Yeah. Moral isn't a natural, morals aren't it's just something you have.
Man, Jack, you
What?
really put the T in tulip for me.
You're welcome.
It's a little Calvinism joke for you.
But like shareholders keep them honest.
Yeah.
They give back to the community because the shareholders make them.
And then it makes
And
the
it's-
shareholders money.
Yeah.
But I found that interesting because you hear a lot of things like Blizzard, like laying off 600 people and then they like give themselves a raise. It's like, or they lay off 600 people to give their new CEO a like $5 million bonus.
And this is the fairness that people are in the streets
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
shouting
I mean,
about.
that's wrong.
Right.
But
But
giving
is
people
it
who
illegal?
decide to do nothing money for doing nothing is more wrong, I think.
You think so? You think
I personally think that
you would rather keep the corruption and
well, I
punish
think that too much
people
of a good
who-
thing is a bad thing. And so the more that you distribute the wealth, I mean, the less that wealth is going to end up being.
Yeah.
Because the more you take away, you take the money away from the rich people and give it to the poor people. Poor people are just going to spend it all. They're not going to reinvest. They're not going to build anything with it.
Well, I mean, I think that
Or,
that's
well, not all
proven
of them.
to not be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not all of them.
But I think to me that's kind of like the oil in the machine, right? Like we can't all go start our own small businesses.
Yeah.
Like, that would be
Yeah.
a bad idea. No one would have enough money to buy
300
anything.
Well, exactly.
because we'd all
300
be
million
investing
small
in our own
businesses.
small businesses.
Exactly. Well, then the money starts disappearing. And that's, it starts disappearing. People start, like, if everyone has.
People start disappearing.
Yeah, people start. If everyone has, like, you can only earn from, like, a person can earn $40,000 to $100,000.
Okay,
And
so
no one can earn any more a year.
Here is my thought. This is purely me. I'm not an economist. Okay, I've not thought
Yeah.
about this probably as enough as I should have. What if we made a stipulation that said the head of a company, so a CEO, can only be paid as much or a percentage of what he pays his lowest paid employee, right? So if we're like, okay, you can only pay yourself 210% of your lowest paid employee is the, like, cap it at that.
Interesting.
So they can make their lowest employee make $30 million and then they get to make $90 million a year,
But then you also have to have the business make enough money to support.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's.
But if we
so-
impose that law on like some of those big companies where the CEO makes like 30, 50,
Yeah, and they got to
times.
drastically reduce their income, or they have to drastically increase their lowest paid employees' income.
yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone in between, right? It's like
Well,
a
I
trickle
think-
down.
I think there's a certain point where maybe that could start, but the thing is when you're trying to get something off the ground, that could ruin it because if
You gotta make sacrifices sometimes.
yeah, you got to make sacrifices, but then the incentive would be just to mechanicize as much as you can and then just have 20 employees running a single thing and then just paying them all enough so that you can make
Okay,
know.
apparently Finland tried universal basic income, For 2 years, they give 2,000 unemployed citizens €560 euros a month with no strings attached.
Is that like over $1,200?
Yeah,
So they never had to
but
do anything.
for 24 months, basically, if you were unemployed, they gave you
Did
560 euros.
did their unemployment rate go up?
I don't know. I don't know if they're
Did they stop it?
Well, it was just 20,000. I think it was an experiment on just the 20,000.
2,000,
Or-
not
yeah,
20,000.
not 20,000.
Yeah.
So
So,
2,000.
But I mean, like, I think it's Switzerland, and they're the second happiest country in the world.
Yeah, because they have so
And-
much chocolate.
Yeah, and I think that they do have really high tax on rich people.
Oh, of course, all of the like
Nordic
socialist, big air quotes,
politically
countries.
socialist or economically socialist,
yeah.
I should say.
Yeah,
They're not.
You know,
I think they have really high tax rates.
they have huge tax rates. My cousin lives in Germany,
I think
which
it's like 60% if you make over 100,000.
yeah, my cousin lives in Germany, which is more one of those, is tamer than like Norway or Sweden or
Yeah.
one of those countries, and they get free schooling, free healthcare. I think free college maybe for certain colleges, but they have like the lowest tax rate is like 30%. It's just
Yeah.
a flat 30% on like one of the lower brackets.
Nice.
And I see you have statistics on your screen, TJ. You're going to prove me wrong. What are those numbers? I can't.
These
read
are
them.
for the U.S. tax brackets for 2020.
Oh, okay.
I want to see how much I'm going to get taxed.
So, U.S. tax brackets break down like this. I'll just do the single filers because we don't need to get into married and children and stuff. But if you make less than $10,000 a year,
That's me.
you still have to pay 10% to the government. If you make $9,875 to $40,000 a year, you have to pay 12%.
I learned something about these tax brackets, though,
Yeah.
right? Because it's only 12% for the amount of money that's over the 9,000.
Right.
Right.
So you do 10, it's stacked. So it's like you pay 10% on your first $10,000, and then every dollar after that you're paying 12% on. And then if you make over $40,000 a
So
year,
it's compounding.
yeah, you pay 10%
Well,
on your
it's-
first
it's-
10, 12 on your second,
It's segmented.
30, and then
So like
every dollar over $40,000.
But like
you make.
during
Yeah.
the year, do I like once I've earned 9,000 whatever
Right.
within
Yes.
before the cutoff, then all of a sudden I'm getting taxed 12. So it's not
No.
Then you're getting 12% on the dollar.
So what's
you
the
make-
what's the upper bound of the lower bracket?
So the lowest bracket, the upper bound is $9,875.
Yeah. So say you make $9,874. You're gonna get taxed 10% on that.
Yeah.
Say you get a raise to $10,000. You still only get a 10% tax on that first 9,000
Yeah,
ish
okay, so
dollars.
yeah, it's-
and then
that's
the
okay.
like $200 over
So
that are
if you make
12%.
over $500,000 a year, right, and you're single, you only pay 37%.
So then
But that's
Well, so
37% on the difference between
your income and that upper
yeah.
bound of the next
Oh,
bracket.
so here's the bracket before the 35% bracket is $207,000 to $518,400.
the more you make, the slower you make it.
401. The more you make, the less taxes you have to pay.
What?
Yeah, because because look, if you still get all the benefits of having these lower tax brackets for this amount up to 500, and then you're capped off at 37% is the most you'll ever have
Oh,
to pay.
true.
So,
Okay, yeah.
which is like, wow, 37% on a dollar. That's 37 cents a dollar that you're paying to the government, and you're just like, yeah, but like,
But you have to remember it's also on like
But it's not all of their money.
$300,000.
yeah, exactly.
So that's like
it's
$100,000 in taxes
37% on whatever you make over
plus
over $518,401.
But so,
Brain
yeah,
is not mathable right now.
Well, it's a curve like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
the
smooth
more you
curve.
make,
The less you pay.
the less
The less percentage you have to. Well, you have
less
to.
percentage you keep.
The less percentage you keep, but
So
but
the
it's
more
not
you make,
that
the
steep.
slower you make it until it hits this point and then it's straight.
Yeah.
Say like if you have a constant income that at the 10% looks like this,
There you go. Draw it in the air so the camera
Yeah.
can see
it
it.
goes like this. As you go up, it starts angling off until it hits here.
Until it
And then
levels
goes
out.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had a consistent, so you could be going straight up almost, but then the second you pass that first one, it's going to slightly change, and then and then it goes off into oblivion.
Basically,
Until the next.
your first $200,000 is you have to pay less than 25% on,
Yeah.
and then
Well, that's
the
about
rest.
where I'm going to be. Probably.
Yeah, the rest
Right
is
now, this year?
Yeah.
This year you're going to
At
be
the same-
right under $200,000.
yeah, that country
Ah,
club. I'll tell you.
I'll take that. I'll work at the country club.
No, I don't care if you almost get
Anyway,
killed
that
at
was-
the time.
Just
Oh, okay.
numbers. Yeah, numbers.
We talked about how I almost died last week, right?
Yeah, we did.
The bowling ball.
Yeah,
well,
we talked about the
today,
Uh-oh.
I almost died again, but in a different way.
Oh, really?
It's no fun if you almost die the same.
Well, it wasn't really almost dying. It was just,
It was just
deadly.
dying.
I dropped it. I dropped a deadly thing.
Oh, okay.
A box of ammo and spilled a bunch of 5.56 on the ground.
Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah. It
But
was-
still,
no one left a
still
firing
scary.
pin laying around, right?
yeah, it lands. There's a firing pin stuck in like someone's shoe, and they like
They
step
get
on.
it.
I can see that in like an action
Nah.
movie or something like that.
Yeah, in like Final Destination
Or,
or something stupid like that.
yeah.
It's like, what?
It was like that MythBusters episode where they took a shotgun shell and they
And
like
they put it on
taped
a
it.
stick.
They taped it to a stick. And they're trying to hit like a fake wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the idea that if you stabbed at it, that if it could push.
Did that work? I don't remember.
I
No,
don't
I
know.
don't think it
They
did.
never got it.
Dang it, that would be cool though.
Because no, it did work, but the problem is that there was no acceleration.
So
Oh, it would just
popped.
blow your
Yeah.
hand back.
Yeah, it just popped.
okay.
It
but
just
like,
popped because there's
there
no
was no-
barrel to accelerate the lead, nor to control.
Yeah. So
or
it's
to,
like
force.
like a glorified party
Yeah,
popper.
because I mean, like when you're firing a shotgun, you
I
got it anchored in your arm.
I still would not like to be hit by that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
shotgun would not be fun.
I mean, probably getting poked by it, you'd come out with a semi-severe burn.
Man,
if
I
nothing.
miss the MythBusters so much,
Dude,
guys.
the final episode was so awesome.
Yeah.
Especially with how Buster just disappeared. Literally
Is that the one where
disintegrated.
they did the pancake plate?
Well, yeah,
him?
so they did so it's a rocket sled.
Yeah.
So the first time they ever used Buster was on the rocket sled. And they decided the best way to send him off was to do it, but at 10 times the speed or something.
Just like max it out.
And literally, when he hit the wall, there was a flash, and there was not a single bit of him left.
Yeah.
Just like-
They could not find him.
What-
And it was the
Aerosol.
ultimate send off.
What was I looking at? The U.S. military, their rail gun. Have you
Oh,
seen
that
their
must
rail
be-
gun?
Oh yeah.
That
It's
must
like
be frightening.
It's something. It's a huge amount of energy to fire, but
I bet.
it's
Is it
completely
magnet controlled?
it's
Yeah.
it's electromagnets, and it
Yeah, okay.
fires a like metal like bullet that's like huge, and it fires it at Mach 7.
We're getting hit with the
oh,
jet.
man.
Yeah. Disappeared. Do you guys watch Tested at all? You listen
That's
to
Adam
Tested?
Savage. It's Adam Savage's
Adam
Adam
Savage.
Savage's YouTube
That's
channel,
his
right?
YouTube
Yeah, and his
channel.
podcast actually.
Yeah.
His podcast is called.
I
watched his-
Don't, but I mean, I know what it is.
Should. I will send you some links.
I've watched some of his like one day builds videos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
the
some
one-day
one-day
builds are
builds.
cool.
Or his, like, where he cosplayed in a full set of medieval armor.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Which he built.
Yeah.
He helped, while he helped.
He
build
helped
it.
build.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that? I think it's so funny how you portray, like, you know, medieval armor. Like, oh, chunk, 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 chunk. Dude, the stuff was made so flexible.
Yeah.
You have a full range of movement while inside of it.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like it's like what is it? It's like 160 plates just for one suit because there are so many small panels that are able
Because
to
of
bend.
flexibility.
I mean, like a finger joint on a armored glove can bend farther back than your finger can.
Yeah.
Like there's that many plates that allow it to move, and your feet you could touch your toe to your shin. That's how flexible the foot is.
Yeah, because you see in a lot of movies, they're like, put on the armor, and they're like,
Like, tonk, tonk, tonk.
Like-
But
like
like
Iron
that's-
Man Mark One.
But that's like historic decorative armor, right? It's
Yeah,
like that's the
yeah.
thing. It's like you see the decorative armor and you're just like, oh, like man, that looks.
but like
quirky.
practical armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, like actual combat armor, like you could full on do martial arts in those things if you were like had the body
It's still
strength to maintain the armor.
It's still heavy.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's still heavy.
So
but
it's-
you do have a full.
I think
range
it's
of movement.
mostly clunky on the fact that it's
Yeah, harder to move your
hundreds of
body.
pounds of metal.
Yeah. Have you guys ever worn any armor, any like chainmail or anything?
No, I've
worn a lead-
I have worn
A
chainmail, I
lead
think.
vest when I get an X-ray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's kind
of like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like your whole body's just like getting a hug. Like, because all the
Yeah.
weight is like so evenly distributed, it feels
Like a weighted blanket.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a weighted blanket that you put on as a shirt.
What did I wear? I
mean,
wore
like, the thing
ankle
is that
weights one time.
Your arms don't really feel restricted though in that. I feel
Yeah,
like your
you can
core
still-
feels muggy.
Well, because your shoulders is like where
Yeah.
it carries most of
But
its
like
weight.
my arms, I mean, I could still.
'Cause of
I only do.
gravity.
I'm
Gravity.
doing all this. I only fence, so you're not gonna wear chainmail for
I would
fencing.
have.
Why
I
not?
should have done
Does it
fencing.
just go right through?
I had friends that did fencing in elementary school.
Dude, it was so much fun. Oh my gosh.
Sports
love
I'd wish I'd
fencing.
done. Fencing and volleyball.
Fencing,
And
volleyball.
any kind of martial arts.
But
especially
Oregon
kung fu.
doesn't believe in men's volleyball.
It,
If we have very few
doesn't.
opportunities to play men's volleyball. It's the thing.
Yeah.
Men's
yeah. Well, I
volleyball
mean, like
dominates.
school, no. It never happens. Although one of the
In
biggest,
California, a lot of schools have
one
men's
of the
volleyball
biggest
teams.
men's volleyball tournaments in the Northwest is in Oregon. It's over in Seaside, I think.
Oh, really?
And it's this huge beach men's volleyball tournament. Like huge. It's the entire beach is just covered in volleyball. It's insane. But
Wait,
I mean,
Oregon has beaches.
Coast. We
Dude,
have coastline.
The coast is covered.
we have
They're playing on like rocks
We have-
and
yeah.
tide pools.
yeah. Well, I mean, in Cannon Beach, there are a lot of like tons of people go and surf in Cannon Beach.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you like cold water surfing,
There's
that's what I mean.
yeah,
Never surfed.
and
I
there's
want to
surfing.
so bad.
Landon, when you're down in school, did you ever encounter like a native Californian and you like go to the beach with them and like try to explain what the Oregon coast is?
I have not explain the Oregon
How
coast
would
to
you
a native
explain the Oregon
Californian.
coast?
It's like the beach, but more fun, I think, personally.
Yeah.
There's more
I like the
stuff to
beach because
do.
it's warm,
more
but the
open.
Oregon coast is, cooler.
Yeah, the Oregon coast is just nice to be at. I mean, like if it's
Beaches can be
cold-
hot.
Oh, they're so hot, especially
Well, and then
in
like
California.
what, like you have to bring everything you want to do to the beach, right? Like,
Yeah.
unless you want to just sit on the beach, which, like we just pointed out, it's very hot sometimes. So
Yeah.
if you're just like sitting there on like this big piece of flat land, it's just like,
gonna
well,
hate it.
this is boring and hot and like. Whereas at the Oregon coast, you're just like, oh, look, I'm gonna go check out that driftwood over there, or I'm gonna go explore tide pools.
Yeah,
or
my
I'm gonna
whole
find
argument-
a trail nearby to
Yeah.
go hike.
My whole argument is for people being like, oh, the coast is cold, though. It's like, it's so much easier to warm up than it is to cool off.
Exactly,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is why I hate the warm and love
Especially
the
mobily, right?
Yes.
It's like you can kind of cool off if you stay in isolation from the
You
rest
sit
of
in
the
the
world.
sun. If
the skun.
the sun.
Yeah,
the skunk.
but
I didn't
like
do my diction
to
exercises
warm
today.
up, you can literally bring a jacket with you almost anywhere, which
Yeah,
is really
I
cool.
mean-
That's nice.
Plus, I mean, there's like for if you're going in the water, there's the
Wetsuits
wetsuits and
Yeah.
stuff.
Exactly.
mean-
Like there is protective gear from the elements even on the Oregon coast.
Even in the
Except from the heat.
Yeah. Let's wrap up with some spiritual stuff. How's everyone doing spiritually? Jack, I'm gonna start with you because I want to talk to Landon.
Well, I still have not gotten to go to youth group for the past 3 weeks, so that's kind of a bummer.
yeah, well, there wasn't youth group last night,
there
was
wasn't. There wasn't anyways because my sister, she got tested, came out negative, but she thought she might have COVID.
Yeah.
Because she was near someone who 2 days before, and they had just gotten tested and got positive for COVID. So
My
she
my
was,
question is, why did they go out with her if they had been tested 2 days before?
No, the thing, she had gone out with them 2 days before.
Oh, and then they got
And then they got
tested.
tested that day.
Somebody
And
at
when
my work
she found out, she lost
supposedly got tested yesterday.
Okay.
it. Ian's getting tested today because his little sister babysitted someone who had to go in for testing.
Yikes.
So we couldn't go to Sherry's last night.
So you're
Dang
gonna go to
it.
Sherry's to make up for all the times you've missed
yeah,
youth group.
for youth group, and then youth group got canceled, and Sherry's got canceled,
Yeah.
and Dungeons and Dragons got canceled.
Oh,
So
no.
it was
Well, why
kind
weren't-
of rough.
You guys should have done that virtually. You guys could have done it
I mean,
virtually.
we could have done it virtually, but I also got home at like 9 and was
Makes sense.
not wanting to go through the pains of doing it
Of
virtually.
like setting up, yeah.
We did like 2 or 3 times virtually, and it just was not fun.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because I mean, like part of the
Doesn't have
fun
the
is
same
getting
energy.
like 2 2-liter bottles of Dr Pepper and some chips and vibing.
Oh yeah, that's how you do it.
Yep.
That's the
how
best.
I D&D.
I play D&D for the social aspect.
Yeah.
However, the group that I play D&D with does
D&D.
not play it for the social aspect. They
Oh,
play it for the
no.
game aspect.
They're like gamers.
Yeah.
And you're just
I
like,
can't-
nah, I want to hang out and
Dungeons
talk in between campaign stuff.
Yeah.
I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was 8, and I played it by myself.
Oof.
Yikes.
That's rough. That's real
So,
rough.
oh my gosh, yeah, and it was with 2nd edition
Oh, yeah. Back
because that's what my dad had. He played a ton of Dungeons and Dragons by himself when he was a little kid.
Your dad strikes me as someone who would be into Dungeons.
Yeah, and when my mom found out about that when they were dating, she almost lost it because she thought that it was extremely
that
satanic.
means you're one type of person.
Yeah.
A Satan worshiper.
A Satan
You know,
worshiper.
I'm a
And
occultist.
so
that's
I
my
had-
spiritual thing.
I played 5 different characters,
yeah.
and I was the dungeon master.
you-
That's
DM
actually
for
a
yourself.
great exercise
Yeah,
in
that's a great-
imagination.
that's a
But
great storytelling exercise for sure.
I'm now like after doing that for 5 years, I'm done of playing the game just to play the game.
Yeah. I hear you.
I want to do it with people and enjoy doing it with
Maybe,
people
yeah.
after doing it with no one for a very
maybe
long
we'll
time.
maybe we'll start our own game.
We should do a Dungeons and Dragons
Well-
podcast.
Tuba Talk. We can play Dungeons and Dragons. We can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
We
that
could
would be cool. A
do
special
Warhammer.
We
Warhammer.
could make
We
our.
could do Warhammer.
We could make our own RPG.
Dude, we don't have time to,
like, church
to
tech.
record a Warhammer game. So many hours.
You notice the lights are flickering. Roll, fix lights.
Yeah, exactly. Landon, how you doing? What's good?
What's good? God is good all the time, and all
Amen.
the time God is good.
Amen.
Welcome to Bible study.
Yes.
Welcome to kids camp, guys.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're hanging in there with no school and
Yeah.
everything. We talked a little bit this week about the Ephraim Co-op. Which
Yeah,
is,
I think that's really cool. So this
new
new
thing.
thing that we're starting is sort of like, Dustin will way explain this better when he
yeah,
does like a
he
sermon
will
on it. But
officially announce.
basically, I like how he phrased it. The like old desert guys, you know,
Yeah.
Augustine, Evagrius of Pontus, Benedict.
Yeah,
Well, Benedict was a pope, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the other Benedict. There's lots of Benedicts. But
Benedict.
they all had their like their monasteries or wherever they were, they had communal devotions, right?
Yeah.
So like instead of like you have whatever the sayings from
I
Jesus
really like the word
volume 3
and the message.
and like the message and like, well, I like John Corson's devotion. Well, I like Tim Keller's devotion. Well, I like John Piper's devotions. You know, instead of having the devotion be about like the person who's writing it, the devotion is
Individualistic.
based on like communal scripture readings. So the thing is that like every day we will have a different scripture and like journaling and song so that you can like listen to and
Yeah.
reflect on it. And then the idea is that you can talk about it with other people. Like, what do you think of yesterday's scripture?
I was like, oh, I didn't read it yet.
And I think that's really cool
That would be me.
because I had one of those like 365 devotion one a day books
Yeah.
when I was younger. And I was like, it was like a kid's one, but it was especially bad because it didn't have like any scripture in it.
Yeah.
It was basically
Susie
just like
and
a
Jimmy
motivation.
are always stuck at home alone. How can they rely on the Lord to make sure
Yeah.
that He will get them through the day?
Yeah, it was
No,
very basic.
It was so painful.
You know,
for someone who read the Action Bible twice,
The Action Bible.
it was a little too childish.
I'm glad we can all relate on this point. But yeah, so like you had like this set 365-day list of, I mean, not really scripture in that sense, but
Yeah.
typically like there's like the Bible reading plans, right? And that's
Yeah.
not this. This is not going to be a Bible reading
No,
plan.
you read the Bible, but it's not on a plan.
Yeah.
You don't know
Just
what's
read
coming.
it.
You don't know what's in the past.
Oh,
Well, you
yeah.
do know what's in the past,
No
but
arch-
it goes away when it's
No
done.
archives. You're not
Yeah.
going to be able to scroll back and be like, oh, what was that passage on
You know how when you
January 3rd?
update your computer and they're like, "Do you want to share everything you do on this computer with us?" And you click no, we'll have that turned off by default.
Yeah. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
No cookies for you.
no cookies.
no cookies for you.
No cookies for us, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I've been praying with my wife.
Yeah.
I missed last week's Rad Dads, which is our prayer. The dads in the
Big
church.
sad.
Dads with kids at home meet in the courtyard on Friday, 7 a.m. Be there or be at work.
Be there, or if you're not a dad, don't be there.
I typically have Friday off, but I was moving last Friday, so
Wow.
I was like at like 6:30. I was already like loading up a trailer. So
Jeez, did you guys rent a U-Haul?
no, I own a trailer, and so just
Dang,
loaded up our
cool.
trailer.
TJ's a man of fine tastes.
Yeah.
He has a trailer.
He's a big man.
I currently don't have a vehicle that can tow my trailer though, which is a bummer.
I'm gonna say,
Uh,
it's like,
Did you pick it up and
I
walk
sold
it?
my Jeep like back in February.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Why would you sell a Jeep?
Because my wife has to try to lift kids in and out of like a
Oh, yeah.
foot. I mean, I didn't put a lift kit on it, but I had like a foot
hold
and
on,
a
let me
half
put him
lift
in
kit
the
on it,
let
so
me
it was,
put him
like,
in the
way
baby
too tall.
booster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro,
So-
I was thinking, was it like one of the SUV Jeeps or was it like a Jeep?
It was like a Jeep. It
A
was,
Jeep
It was,
Jeep.
It was a Liberty.
Okay.
It's a Liberty, so it's like
I love
the-
Jeeps.
a little bit of a hybrid between like the SUV style, but
If when I'm older, if I can't have a motorcycle, I want a Jeep.
get a Jeep. Why would you want a motorcycle? Never mind. That's
I-
a topic for
I love
another day.
motorcycles.
Another
Before we
day.
go, last week, did we run into any complications really?
The emergency backup battery beeped for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of
And the
odd,
lights flickered, but that was it.
But
Mostly, I think.
Don't think Pro Presenter had.
any issues,
Yeah.
right?
And
I-
it won't this week, now that we're on Pro Presenter 7.
Or no, we made the wrong service.
Oh yeah, that was right. There was that we imported
was-
the wrong
Oh.
service.
We imported the wrong
from
service.
Tuesday.
and had to
Pro
re-import
Presenter,
it.
this is really technical, but Pro Presenter stores its
It's-
it's playlist data that shows up that you click on, like recent playlists and
Yeah.
stuff you've added. It stores it as a node based, and I think it's similar to a linked list, but I don't know if it's exactly a linked list. But it stores it that way. And we were having an issue with there were some old playlists that were showing up that whenever you clicked on them, Pro Presenter would crash.
Be like,
Don't know why.
that doesn't exist. Bye.
I think
Yeah.
one of the references to the sermon titles was busted. So whenever you click on it, it would just freak out about a reference error and crash. So we had to go into the hard, and if you would right click, it would crash too, because right clicking selects it and it right clicks,
yeah.
which is a horrible
So if
design
you touched
decision.
it, it would crash.
But
Most of Pro Presenter.
But we
is a
also
horrible
needed it
design
out of the
decision.
way so that we could run a normal service.
yeah, so we had to go into like the XML file for playlist data and delete the lines, the nodes for those playlists that were having issue. But I think that messed with like the first last references,
Yeah. I'm
and
sure
then
that's
that
what it was.
caused, the service sometimes to change into last week's service.
So it was scary, but,
But I mean,
it all worked out.
at
We
least
got
it was
done in
only
time.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, that's way better than the past, like, 4 weeks we've had.
That's
That's 4
true.
weeks. It's so, like, everything at once just goes down.
It dead, big dead.
Yep,
Big
big
L.
dead. But hopefully this week's service will be even better. We will see you guys next week on Tuba Talk, Not So Normal Conversation.
Peace.